Welcome back to American Wing Chun. I'm Sifu Wright, and on this video we'll be going over the fourth set of Siu Nim Tau. So this will start out in your stance with your arms up. You open the stance like you saw in the first set. And I teach this section of the form in 20 specific steps. A new student will come in, and when they learn this part of the form, I'll teach them the first 10 movements, and then I'll just have them pull back from there because this is quite a long set and it can get complicated to do the whole thing all in one sitting. So I'll show you where that first half of it is, where we pull back, and then from there you can start the second half of it. But the whole thing should go all the way through without stopping. So from your stance, again, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open my hand, my left hand, always the left side first. I open my left hand, turn it palm down and palm straight down. So this whole thing is 1. Then you do the same thing on the right side, 2. So this opens up from the side, turns over, and I palm straight down my side. If you have your arms relaxed down in front of you, you see that they are kind of in front of your legs. So naturally, your arms tend to want to go a little bit forward with this, but you should have it directly down by your side. So back from this fist position, when you open your hand, your wrist is already kind of in that position. You're going to use your heel of your palm to press straight down this line. So I do 1 left side, 2 is my right side. Number 3, I'm going to relax my hands, pick up my elbows and keep them in, so don't let your elbows go out. My wrists are going to come up to my hip belt area, and it's going to come to the center of the small of the back. So this goes 1, 2, 3. This is all in one motion. So from in front, 1, 2, 3. 4, I'm going to palm straight backwards. So from this position, your fingers stay pointing at yourself, and you shouldn't have it stab with your fingertips. The heels of your palms lead the position, so it goes out backwards behind you. An important point is to make sure you keep good posture in this position. A lot of people tend to bend over and lean when they do this, or have a hunch in their back. That's very bad for your spine to do this kind of movement with a bad posture. So keep a good straight posture and palm backwards. Fingers are pointing back at yourself. You want to keep your hands as high up and as close together as you can. So it shouldn't spread out too far, and it shouldn't be too low. It should be high and close together. And then it relaxes back to your back for number 4. So again, this goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I guess that's 4. So this is 4. 5 goes to the small of your back. 6, the back of your hands stick to your body all the way around, and once they're to your side, they pick up and they ride up your body through this whole motion. So 5, 6. And the palms should be facing forward. You're trying to get a good stretch in this position to turn your palm facing forward. And then it palms down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, palms down. And I want to push with my elbows. Don't hammer and hinge at your elbow. Your elbows thrust and push this forward. You can think of it like you're trying to stop something coming at you. You're not doing that as an application, but you think of the movement that way, where you are doing this palm forward. The hands are bent back, so you're getting a good stretch in your wrist. And you can hold this position for a second so you get that flexibility in your forearm. It's also building the muscles it takes to pull back here. So in the form, we have these circular movements where it bends the wrist backwards, and there's about 8 or 9 of those in the form. When you go the other direction with a palm strike, it stretches your forearm in the other direction. So any kind of movement that you have where there's a stretching motion, you have things that bend one direction, somewhere else in the form, you're going to stretch the other direction. So you have both of these places where you have that flexibility. So again from the beginning, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Number 8 is the Gum-Sau. So the way this works, where your elbows are, that's where they bend. So I don't want to raise this up high. I just bend my elbows in space where they are. It kind of covers the midsection of your body. And the left hand should be on top when you do that. Your fingertips are where your elbows are. So they shouldn't be out like this, and it shouldn't be too far in this way. It should be right at the edge of your elbows, the tips of your elbows with the tips of your fingers. So that palm's forward and bends into the Gum-Sau. They shouldn't be touching each other, and there shouldn't be too much space. It's just a small space in between your arms. From here, you're going to look to your left. So before you learn the Chum-Kiu form, we usually teach you to turn your head to look to the side. And as you finish the Fook-Sau, striking out, you're going to turn to your right to look to your right. Then as you look back to the center, you're going to pull your hands back to the center with the right hand on top. So some more details of this particular movement. The angle at my elbows is a 90-degree angle. When I do the Fook-Sau, I don't want to lead with my elbows and have that angle get smaller and then chop out to the side. It should keep 90 degrees, and that angle only gets bigger. And so when I'm in this position, my arms are straight out from my shoulders. So they shouldn't be too low, they shouldn't be too high, and they should not go back behind you. And they shouldn't be too far in front of you either. They should be exactly in line with your shoulders. Whether it's from the side or from straight on, it should be at your shoulder height. So it shouldn't be too low or too high. And it comes back with the right hand on top. So it starts with the left hand on top, looking left, looking right, comes back with the right hand on top. After you've learned the Chum-Kiu form and you come back to Siu Nim Tau, you're going to only look with your eyes, looking left and right, and then bringing it back to the center. So if you see from like kind of a top-down view, my arms have this roughly 90-degree angle, and I strike out, leading with the elbows, but that angle gets constantly bigger until it's in line with my shoulders, and then it follows that same line back in. So I look to my left, look to my right as it finishes, look back to the center to come back to the center. And that would be number 10, and then you pull the arms back if that's where you're going to stop that particular class before they learn the next part, which can be a little complicated. So again, from the beginning, this goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then you can pull back. But instead of pulling back from 10, the next movement is going to be the Gum-Sau. So the way this works, my left hand that's on the bottom is going to come on the inside of my arms, so it's now in the back. And it's going to cross at the wrist, making an X shape. It does that, and the elbows come together, and I press forward with my wrists. So I go into this Gum-Sau position. So this is all one movement. The forearms here should be parallel to each other, so they should not have this angle where the elbows are out. They shouldn't be facing out this way. I don't really see that problem too often, but I do see a lot of this. They either chop too low, or students tend to be too far back with it. This angle throughout the form roughly stays the same. Doesn't matter what position your hands are in. The Fook-Sau will be here, the Tan-Sau will be here, the Bong-Sau is also there. So this angle, even the Gum-Sau tends to have that same kind of angle. This is a 135-degree angle. 135 is 90 degrees plus 45, or 180 minus 45. So when I do the Gum-Sau, I'm pressing my wrists forward where my elbows are at that 135-degree angle. Fingertips are roughly at the collarbone height with that. I have a deep bend in my elbows, and my forearms are parallel to each other. They're not in line with the edge of your body, but they're not touching either. They're about halfway between those two places. So from number 10, this would be number 11. Number 12, your hands just turn palm up. So it just turns into a Gum-Sau. So 11, 12. From here, 13 is the Tok-Sau. Tok-Sau is a lifting arm. You're going to lift with the heels of your palms up. So it's not just straight up, but it's up and forwards. And it goes until your hands are at your nose height. So 11, 12, 13. 14, they turn palm down. So with the Gum-Sau position here, before I do the Tok-Sau, my wrists have a bend in it where the hand is flat. Someone asked this in a comment on one of the videos. The Gum-Sau, we don't have it where it's straight with the wrist this way because this doesn't have a whole lot of structure to it, and your force tends to follow the direction your fingers point, whether you're absorbing force or if you are issuing force. So we point it forward. This also activates muscles in the forearm when I tilt my hand down, and that creates a stronger structure, and I'm able to absorb force in a straight line backwards. As opposed to being here, it tends to not have a strong structure and tends to collapse. So we like to point it forward. And you don't have to worry about stabbing your fingers into something. It's just like if you had this position with your hands. It's not like your fingers are going to get jammed here. Your fingers are relaxed, and if anything hits them, they bend anyway. Same thing with the Gum-Sau. You would meet with your Gum-Sau first and move into the Gum-Sau. You wouldn't just jab a Gum-Sau at somebody. So you are in 10, 11 is the Gum-Sau, 12 is the Gum-Sau, 13 is the Tok-Sau, 14, where the Gum-Sau has this position where the wrist is bent, the next movement turns the hands palm down and the wrists are straight with the forearm. So it does not have, you don't want to be in this kind of snake-like position here. You want to maintain a straight alignment of the wrist. So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, you do the Jut-Sau. The elbows sink straight down, and it brings the hands down to where the fingertips are roughly the same position as your collarbone. So this lifted up to the nose, turns palm down, sinks down to the collarbone. From here, you're going to strike out towards your eyes. Your thumbs are aiming at the eyes. So if you're watching yourself in a mirror, your own eyes are the targets for this strike. Your thumbs aim there. So it shouldn't be too wide, and it shouldn't be above your head, shouldn't be too low, and it shouldn't be too narrow where they're too close together, where they're touching this way. It should be where you are aiming right at your eyes. And so that's 1, 2, 3, or 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, strikes to the eyes. 17, I keep my arms fully extended. My elbows are staying locked out, and I am pressing down to my belt level. My hands here are parallel to the ground. So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I lead with my wrist to do that motion. So it does this kind of straightened arm position, and it has to hinge from the shoulder. So this is the long bridge Gum-Sau. Where these Gum-Saus are just down by your sides. This is the backward Gum-Sau, and this is the forward Gum-Sau where it's pressing forward. The hand here is pulling back. On this one, the hands stay pressing down. This is where your arms aren't bent to initiate the motion. This is where they're straight, and you have to use a different muscle group to execute this motion. So this presses down to the belt. And again, any low movement that we do is always going to be at the same angle out from our body. So where I do from the beginning of the form, I do this cross Gum-Sau. This is the same location as this forward Gum-Sau. It's the same location as this long bridge Gum-Sau. All these movements are at that same more or less position, or at least that angle out from your body, or that same distance out from your body. It's about where your belt is. So if you're looking in a mirror, where your belt is at your height looking in the mirror, if you draw a line straight out, that should be where the heels of your palms are, or really where your wrist is. So that goes down. So 11, 12, 13, if I count properly, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, you're going to relax your hands and pick your wrists up to your chin height. So you're hitting with this back part of your wrist up underneath someone's chin. So 17, press down. 18, lift up to your chin height in the mirror. 19, and when you're doing that, your arms, your elbows still stay completely locked out. So from the Gum-Sau, this thrusting fingers arm, straight at the eyes, you keep your elbows locked down, you keep them locked coming up, and then you're going to pull the fingers back, pointing towards yourself, keeping your elbows completely locked out, and you're going to rotate outside with this Gum-Sau going to the outside into a fist position. So everywhere else in the form, when we do a Gum-Sau, you rotate inwards. This one's rotating outwards. So when I lift up to the chin, it rotates outwards into fists, and then I pull back. And that's the end of that set. So again, if I go from the very beginning, this goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So there's all 20 parts to that section. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments. That's a lot of movements, a lot of details to each individual movement. I'm sure I missed some details somewhere through there. I try to give as much as I can. But if you have any questions, leave those in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next video. So that's it for this video. If you found this video helpful, please remember to like the video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. Click the bell button to get notifications for when we post new videos. I still want to mention that we have our Patreon account that is available for anyone that wants to subscribe to that. You get access to our Zoom classes if you go into the student tier of that. If you're an official patron, then you get access to our Discord channel where you can ask detailed questions. You can send us videos of yourself doing certain movements of the form, or any kind of question any kind of movement you have a question on. You can send yourself doing that. We can give you critiques personally on video that way. So please keep that in mind. And if there's any other questions, ask those in the comments, and I'll see you guys on the next video.